Hey, what is going on, everybody? It's Kevin Cote back again here with another Cryptid Camp video. I hope you are doing well, and thank you for watching again if you've watched in the past. Okay, so today is some pretty exciting news, or I guess some news in the past, a couple of days ago now. Cryptid Camp released their first tabletop simulator map on Steam, which is awesome news. This means they're allowing the public to actually test their game out, so try before you buy, and see some of the cards, how they look like on high quality pictures. So on the screen right now, I do have some images of what that TTS map looks like. If you don't know, Tabletop Simulator is a program, or a video game rather, on Steam that allows you to play board games and card games simulated in a room. You basically need to learn the custom controls of Tabletop Simulator, or TTS, but it honestly is not that bad to learn. It takes like half an hour to 60 minutes if you've been playing video games to get decent at it, maybe a little bit longer if you haven't played video games, and it's pretty cheap. It's like 10 bucks when there's like a Steam sale, and usually it's like 20 bucks, so it's only 20 bucks to be able to play thousands of free games on Steam, or board games, whatever you want. So yeah, it's only 20 bucks at most to try Cryptid Camp, which could save you a lot of money if the gameplay didn't really stick with you. So please give it a shot. Now, in conjunction with that TTS map announcement on this video, I've actually made a Cryptid Camp player Discord, unofficial Discord. I want a way for players who really want to try the game out and who want to get better at the game and ask rule questions to have a community, a forum online. Now, Cryptid Camp does not have an official Discord right now, and I completely understand that for a variety of reasons. Discords can have issues of, not making a cult, but, basically making it too hyped up and kind of having this, feedback loop of things going on. So Discord has its pros and cons, but for the sake of an unofficial player community that's not official, I think it's going to provide more positives than goods. And yeah, I'm hoping to hang out in my Discord that I made pretty often and just have a good time. And in the Discord, I'll be posting up resources that I'm making or finding and putting out to you guys to help you learn the game. I've been doing some pretty nerdy stuff because I am also a game designer at the same time, and I like analyzing card games. So I've been doing things like building a cost curve for Cryptid Camp a little bit, or at least thinking about it. And I have actually taken the TTS map cards and put them on a spreadsheet, so you can actually, control F and find certain stats. I'm hoping to build this very basic, free card database on Google Sheets, so you can access the cards in a text-based way and find information very easily. And that is until Cryptid Camp, hopefully, fingers crossed, makes their own card database. So yeah, check out the Discord, please. I want to play with people who watch this video. I want to help, people learn the game when I have a chance. A little busy, but please, I'll do what I can to help push this game, because I like the idea, I like the people working for it, and yeah. So, along with the Discord, and along with that TTS map, I did, however, find some quality assurance issues with some of the cards, and I'm pointing these quality assurance issues not out of hatred or anything. I bring it out of love, and I bring it out of wanting the game to get better. It's totally normal for a lot of card games to make quality assurance issues when they are releasing, especially before it's been printed. Even working in MetaZoo, there would be some QA issues always come, little bit here and there each set. So it's totally normal to have QA issues. I did make a QA suggested corrections document via Google Docs that you can look at the description below. And if anyone from Cryptid Camp is watching this, please use the document, look at the corrections I suggest. I'll bring up some of them right now. Now, some of them are just like would be nice to add in. Like right now, there's no examples of field effects for those card types, for those what's it called, environment memories. There is some typo grammar corrections going on, you know, stuff like that. It's not really like a big deal, but I do have a little bit of a keen eye because I have worked QA for a bit. So I just wanted to point these things out of love, and you know, maybe, hopefully, I think Cryptid Camp hasn't been sent out to print, so I'm hoping that these corrections can be fixed, at least the very important corrections like typos and things like that. But fortunately, the things, most of the cards, you know, almost all the cards look good. Their set numbers are good, the illustrators are good, stuff like that. There's just some small consistency things, like making sure all the draw words are capitalized, and like I said before, a few typos and placement stuff going on, but it's not a big deal. Along with the TTS map, we have also seen a new rulebook update. So this rulebook is actually the newer rulebook, and it's a whole 7 pages longer than the first rulebook. I believe this is the more comprehensive rulebook, so I did want to skim that real fast. And if you've seen my rulebook video, I praise you, because that is a 90-minute long video, even if you watch parts of it. But at the same time, you know, you don't have to watch all of it. Just kind of skim the chapters if you want. First of all, first change, we see who the rulebook's made by. So again, shout out to my friends, the GOATs, Elliot Evans, Emilio Soto, and Gabriel. You know, people who I worked with in the past, and you know, friends today. They're still awesome guys. Shout out to them. Table of contents does need to be updated. It's currently at, you know, 20 pages still, but there is 27 pages now. So if we go to the end, which is here, I'm gonna skip a little bit. We can see that there is advanced rules now. So this is actually really cool from a game design / a player standpoint. We are seeing the more in-depth rules for how to play cryptids and phases of a turn, what that looks like more in depth. We're seeing battling more in depth, which is good. Have some questions on that. Seeing exploration more in depth, which is the key mechanic of the game. So we're seeing all these things very in depth, and of course we're seeing the Mulligan rules, which is awesome. I asked for the Mulligan rules before, there wasn't there. Now we see the Mulligan rules here. So Cryptid Camp is an awesome game, awesome company, because they're taking corrections from the community or just putting out, you know, updated content frequently, which is very good. We also see some other stuff beyond the advanced rules. We do see the deck limits got updated, so that is something I think I pointed out in my rulebook video, where it wasn't very clear how many copies per deck unique, rare, uncommon, and common was, but maybe they updated that too. Yeah, so this stuff is basically more clear with the whole deck limit section. So I did want to point out that Cryptid Camp's rulebook is better and better. There is one more thing to point out about the rulebook though, and that is you can actually find this rulebook, the advanced rules rulebook, on the website. You have to actually go on a TTS map to find it. I actually went on TTS and then pulled up the rulebook as a PDF. I had to download it that way. So this rulebook is not very accessible if you do not have TTS, and it's much better than the first rulebook that was put out. So if someone from Cryptid Camp is watching this, I would love it to have this advanced rulebook on the website, because it's currently not on the official website for Cryptid Camp. It's only the 20-page rulebook without the advanced rules. So I think that would be nice to put out. Then again, I also have to think about the fact that this is an advanced rulebook. It's not the basics of the game, and maybe they just want to put out the basics for people. Then again, the basics is 20 pages long, so adding 7 more pages to that doesn't seem like a huge effort, but I digress. Okay, I do want to end this video off on some thoughts on the starter deck. So currently, there's only one starter deck on the TTS map. They are going to release another starter deck kind of soon-ish. It would be the La Lorena, I think, starter deck. But this is the Bigfoot Nessie starter deck. That's what they called it on Kickstarter. There is actually an official name. It's like Outdoors something. I don't know top of my head the name. But I do want to take a quick look at it. I'm not going to go over all of the cards right now, but I do want to show how beautiful the cards are. Shout out to the artists, and this is how the cards look really nice, guys. Like, the cards look really good just from, you know, looking at the cards in terms of their graphics, colors. Like, this is honestly a really beautiful game. Okay, we have to appreciate that. And I like the shadows, the silhouettes of the creatures. You can tell the graphic design team took some care to making the creatures really stand out and pop out. So I really do like that. But that said, yeah, so this entire starter deck, how it basically works is you're playing these more tanky creatures. Like Nessie has 8 defense, playing things like Gummeru with a lot of defense if it's not being attacked. And you're also playing these guys, these swimmers, that can explore from the back row. So you can use these, you can just put these guys in the back row of the map and then have them explore the farther side. So this is kind of a deceptive deck. You're playing these creatures that aren't very strong. Like BG Mermaid's not that strong. It's 3-1 in this game, compared to 3-1 to Bigfoot at 13-11. But these guys are actually deceptively good in their effects. So it's kind of a tricky deck to play against, in theory, that is. You got some good support cards like Backpack, and you actually have a lot of draw power with Sailor and Archaeologist. So it's basically like I'm drawing cards, I'm playing creatures deceptively, and yeah. One card I'm not that keen on is Sextant. I think this card is actually not that good, but I'll have to actually play it more in depth. It's only giving 1 defense for what it's worth, but it is pretty cheap, so I might be wrong. I have to actually play with that more and try it out. The trails is something I've been very curious about. It's kind of hard to see here, but for the trails, they are only, you know, for the starter deck, you only have 2 unique trails. I was thinking it might be more trails, but it's only 2 unique trails, and that keeps it pretty easy to understand, you know, the effects. I only have 2 trails on my deck. I can place it randomly. And it definitely makes placement of the cryptids a lot more interesting. I can kind of see players putting the forest trails all in the front row and the delta trails all in the back row, since the water cryptids, in my opinion, because they're squishier, are better in the back row so they don't get killed as easily. So I think that might be some general strategy with this deck. This Storm, Calm, and Weather, it looks okay. It only activates a couple of the effects in the deck. I think, yeah, it activates 3 of the effects in the deck. But you do get 2 copies of them in a deck, which is pretty cool. And this deck has some staple cards that are very inspired from other card games. Like Swap is very similar to Switch in Pokemon. Bloop Sound is pretty similar to Yu-Gi-Oh! And changing the stance, you know, attack mode to defense mode of a creature. It's actually similar to Book of Eclipse. I think that's what it's called, Book of Eclipse. And yeah, I think this deck looks really fun to play. I think it's pretty strong. One more critique I do want to bring up about this deck, you know, just first impressions of it, is the fact that the actual companion Bigfoot is kind of hard to get out in the deck pretty easily. I thought Bigfoot, Piazza Bird, Mothman, those really big 5-drops we saw in the Kickstarter showcase, I thought they would be really good, because in theory you could get those cards out on turn 5 if your deck was completely based off the green, red, black energy kind of stuff. You know, I guess, you know, if Bigfoot was only Malachite. However, in this deck, it's actually a dual gem deck. I think that's what it's called, dual gem. So because you're running, you know, 2 kinds of lantern, the blue lantern and the green lantern, you can't really get this guy on turn 5. It's actually pretty hard to get this guy out, you know, in the game. If you think about it, you have to play like, you know, at least 5 turns, but most likely you won't get it out in 5 turns. You're gonna get it out probably in like 7 to 8 turns, you know, probably up maybe even 10 turns it will take to get this guy out. So yeah, it's very strong cryptid, and this is something else. These guys are very powerful. Like, these companion cryptids are very strong. I haven't seen any like good removal in this game. Like, there's no like, you know, death spell in Metazoo or whatever, or like Doomblade and Magic in this game. There's no like easy removal cards, so that makes Bigfoot and those bigger creatures pretty strong, since, you know, their stats are so good. And in theory, like, this guy can kill basically any of these guys. And there's probably some synergies I haven't thought about initially, like the scaling with the backpack, or you know, the defense from Sextant to help out. But I'm saying if this guy gets out, or any of these companion cryptids gets out, it's kind of like, oh boy, you know, not good game, but pretty close to good game. So I did want to bring up how strong, you know, my first impressions of these companions are, because their stats are much better than these non-unique cryptids, which is good though, because we want our legendary creatures, in my opinion, to be pretty strong, because they're, you know, unique and legendary. But yeah, anyways, I'm going to be playing this deck hopefully with you guys and whoever on the Discord and just in general. So yeah, if you want to play Cryptid Camp, please join the Discord, you know, with me and others. You know, I got four others there. Thank you if you're there right now on that Discord. And yeah, I'll be making some more Cryptid Camp gameplay videos and just, I guess, news of the game, because it looks really cool in the future. So please, you know, like, comment, subscribe, all of that, and I'll see you on the campsite, whatever it's called, the campsite or whatever. Yeah, I'll see you guys.